Welcome to your personalized deep dive. We're tackling that corporate trainer interview today. Whether you're just starting out or, aiming for that big promotion, we've got you covered.
Absolutely. We're going to unpack what those interviewers are really looking for. We'll break down some of those common, and let's face it, sometimes tough interview questions, and we'll show you how RoleCatcher can give you that extra edge.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The career guy mentions a positive employment outlook for corporate trainers. So what's driving that demand? What makes now a good time to be in this field?
Well, it's really interesting how business needs are evolving, right? Think about the constant technological shifts. A globalized workforce. Companies really need people who can adapt and learn on the fly.
Yeah.
And that's where these skilled corporate trainers become so essential. They're the ones who bridge that knowledge gap and empower those employees to thrive in this, ever-changing landscape.
Totally. It's like being a guide in this constantly shifting terrain, right?
Mhm.
Always adapting the route, making sure everyone reaches that final destination. And speaking of adapting, that's where I think RoleCatcher comes in.
Yeah.
It's not just a job board. It's like having a personalized interview coach in your pocket.
I would even say better. RoleCatcher uses, get this, AI to analyze job descriptions and figure out exactly what these companies are looking for. Think of it like this. It's kind of like decoding the hidden language of those job ads.
I like it.
And then it helps you tailor your resume, even your interview answers, to really hit those key points.
Okay, so it's about speaking their language, showing them that you truly get what they need from the get-go. Now let's dive into these interview questions because the guide gave us some real brain teasers.
Oh, I know, right? Let's tackle them head on.
Okay, first up, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and developments in corporate training? It feels like, honestly, a minefield out there. You want to sound informed, obviously, but not like you're bragging.
Yeah, no, it's a classic. And you fit the nail on the head with that balance thing. They're really looking for genuine passion and commitment to that, constant learning.
Right, because the guide's avoid section was very clear.
Mm.
Saying, I don't have time is a huge red flag.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Instead, you really want to showcase your proactive approach to learning. Are you part of any professional associations? Do you follow industry blogs? Podcasts, maybe? Do you maybe even have a mentor? These things show that you are invested in your own development.
So mentioning the deep dive wouldn't hurt, right? I'm just kidding. But seriously, what if I mentioned attending these industry conferences? Could that lead to like a follow-up question like, what's a recent trend that particularly interested you?
Absolutely. And that is where RoleCatcher's AI can really, really shine. By analyzing tons of data, job descriptions, interview questions, it can practically predict those follow-up questions and help you prepare those insightful answers. It's like having a sneak peek into the interviewer's playbook.
That's amazing. Okay, so it's not just about knowing the answer. It's about crafting a response that really resonates. And speaking of crafting answers, let's move on to another question that can feel a bit overwhelming. Describe your experience with creating and delivering training programs. Where do you even start with that one? It feels so broad.
Yeah, I get it. But see, this is like a golden opportunity, right?
What?
They're not just looking for a laundry list of programs that you've delivered. They want to see your process, your approach, and, most importantly, your impact.
Right, and the guide really emphasizes focusing on what they call adult learning principles. What does that mean in practical terms for someone, actually tailoring their answer?
It's about understanding how adults learn best, right? Think about engagement, relevant content, practical application.
Right.
So instead of saying, I delivered a program on X, you could say, I designed a highly interactive workshop on X. You see the difference.
Yeah.
We used real-world case studies and role-playing to make sure people not only learned, but could apply the knowledge.
So paint a picture.
Mm.
Show them you're not just lecturing, you're creating an experience that leads to a real change.
Exactly. And get specific. Did you get, awesome feedback on a particular activity? Did you see a measurable improvement in employee performance because of your training? Those details add weight and credibility to your answer.
It's like the show, don't tell rule of storytelling. But even the best storytellers can use a good editor. And that's where RoleCatcher's AI feedback comes in, right?
Precisely. Its AI analyzes your responses and compares them to, successful candidates, and then it suggests improvements to make your answer shine. It can help you choose the most relevant examples, highlight the right skills, even suggest phrasing that aligns with the company's values.
Like having a personal branding expert fine-tuning every single word you say.
Right.
Now let's tackle a question that often trips people up. How do you measure the effectiveness of a training program? feels like a trick question, like they're trying to see if you actually think about results.
You're spot on. It's not a trick, but it is a test. They want to know that you get that training isn't just about delivering information. It's about driving those real measurable results for the business.
For sure, for sure. And the guide mentions various methods like post-training surveys, on-the-job observations. Is there a right answer here? What are they really getting at?
The right approach is showing you understand evaluation, both the number side, what we call quantitative, and the why behind the numbers, qualitative.
Okay.
Don't just list methods. Explain how you've actually used them, what you learned, how you adapted based on that data.
So it's showcasing those analytical skills, your ability to learn from data, and that dedication to continuous improvement.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher can provide even more insights here. It can analyze the specific job description and suggest which evaluation methods might be most relevant to emphasize. So you're aligning your answer with what that company values.
It's like having a customized roadmap for navigating these, let's be honest, sometimes tricky questions. Now, I want to address a question that I think many people dread, even experienced trainers.
Okay. Let's hear it. What's the question that makes everyone nervous?
It's the one about those, challenging participants.
Yeah.
The dreaded, how do you handle difficult learners during a training session? We've all encountered them, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's practically guaranteed. But it's not about avoiding these situations entirely. It's more about how you navigate them while you're maintaining a positive learning environment for everyone else. That's what really sets a skilled trainer apart.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the guide was very clear, saying, I've never had a difficult learner is a major no-no.
Rightfully so. I mean, it makes you sound inexperienced or even worse, out of touch. They're looking for those problem solvers, you know?
Right.
So how do you demonstrate that you're ready to handle those curveballs, right?
So honesty is key. But how much detail is too much when describing those challenging learners? I wouldn't want to scare them off with, war stories.
You're right. It's all about finding that balance. Focus on your strategies, not the specifics of any one situation.
Okay, so instead of saying this one time a participant stormed out because they hated group work, I would say something like, I've found that setting clear expectations and those ground rules up front really helps minimize disruptions.
Yes.
And when challenges do arise, I address them with, empathy, respect, always redirecting the focus back to our learning objectives.
Now, that's how you turn a potentially negative question into a showcase of your strengths. You're proactive, adaptable, committed to creating that positive, productive learning experience, even with those tricky participants.
That makes a lot of sense. And this feels like another area where RoleCatcher could provide really valuable feedback.
Right.
It's not just about having a good answer. It's about having the right answer for that specific company.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze company profiles and, countless interview responses to help you tailor that answer to that specific company culture. It's about showing them that you can handle those difficult situations in a way that aligns with what they value.
It's like having a cultural translator built into your interview prep.
Right.
Speaking of culture, let's transition a bit from acing the interview itself to thinking about building a strong career path within this field. The guide outlines 4 main stages: entry-level, junior, intermediate, senior. What are some key differences as you progress through those stages? What should people be aware of?
It's a great question. A lot of people think about career growth as something that just sort of happens. But in reality, it takes proactive planning, effort to really shape that fulfilling journey. So as you progress, you see increasing responsibility, of course. But that also means greater opportunities for leadership, for developing new skills, even for specializing in areas that really interest you. And naturally, that earning potential grows along with that as well.
Yeah, it's like leveling up in a video game. Gaining experience, unlocking those new abilities, tackling those bigger challenges for bigger rewards.
I love that analogy. And just like in a game, having that guide, that roadmap makes all the difference. And that's what's so great about resources. Just like, RoleCatcher's Career Compass. It helps you understand the potential growth paths within your field.
So you can actually see what skills are in demand for those, higher level roles, what certifications might give you an edge, even what those salary expectations are, realistically. Takes out some of the guesswork.
Exactly. Instead of just hoping for the best, you're making these informed decisions about your professional development. And that brings me to another really important point that the guide highlights.
Networking. I was just about to ask about that. Does RoleCatcher offer any tools to help with that, building those professional connections?
Absolutely. Networking is It's crucial for advancement. You gain insights from others in the field, you hear about those opportunities you might not find otherwise, and you're getting your name and your skills in front of the right people.
It's like that saying, it's not always about what you know, it's who you know. But ideally, it's both, right?
You got it. And RoleCatcher has those built-in tools for, managing your network, connecting with those other professionals, even getting noticed by those potential employers.
It's like having like a virtual networking event happening 24/7. You can reach out to people, for advice, share your experiences, maybe even discover mentors in your field.
All from a platform that you're already using, to research those jobs and prepare for those interviews. It really does streamline the entire process.
That's fantastic. And since we're talking about streamlining, let's dive into another one of those interview questions. This one focuses on how you actually design your training, like from the ground up.
I'm ready when you are. Let's break it down.
Okay, so the question we left off on is, walk me through your process for designing a new training program. And it feels like a big one,
Yeah.
they want to see how you think, not just what you've done.
You're exactly right. It's your chance to really demonstrate that structured thinking and how you approach these challenges.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. You wouldn't start building a house without a blueprint, would you?
Right.
Same goes for training.
So how do you build that training blueprint? The guide talks about, identifying needs, setting objectives. It can feel a little overwhelming, to be honest.
It doesn't have to be, I promise. A clear, confident answer here could really set you apart from other candidates.
Okay.
So start by showing them that you understand the why behind the training. What are those business needs? What are those specific skills or knowledge that they are trying to develop in their employees?
Okay, so it's about connecting the dots between the training and those big picture company goals.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to demonstrate your understanding of those adult learning principles here as well. Mention things like incorporating interactive activities, real-world applications, even, opportunities for that peer-to-peer learning to make the training more engaging, more impactful.
It's showing them you're not just going through the motions, right? You're thoughtfully designing an experience that delivers those real, tangible results. And this feels like another area where a role catcher could help, tailor those points to the specific company you're interviewing for, right?
Exactly. By analyzing that company data, those similar job descriptions, you know what? RoleCatcher might highlight keywords, things like problem solving or customer centricity.
Okay.
You can then emphasize how your training design fosters those specific skills. It's all about speaking their language, demonstrating you understand those unique needs.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for job descriptions.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here today. We tackled some tough interview questions. We explored how RoleCatcher can be your, secret weapon in this process. And we even looked at, long-term career growth in this really exciting field. Any final thoughts to leave our listener feeling empowered and ready to conquer that interview?
Remember, you've got this. You're passionate about developing others, about driving those tangible results. Show them who you are, showcase that expertise, and use the tools at your disposal, like RoleCatcher. Let it help you really stand out. Being prepared is the best antidote to those, interview nerves.
I love that. Confidence is key. And remember, every interview, it's a learning experience, even if it doesn't lead to a job offer right away. Take those lessons learned, keep refining your approach, and never stop growing.
Well said.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of corporate trainer interviews. Good luck out there.
You've got this.